Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm Brett Moravitz from Northwest Wisconsin, and today I'm going to do a out-of-the-box review of this Dewalt 15-foot extendable pole saw. It comes in a box that's about 4 feet tall, 12 inches wide, and about 6 inches deep. And it actually was packaged in there pretty well. It had a cardboard, I don't know, some kind of a cardboard frame holding each end of it in there. It was actually a bit of a struggle to get it out of the box. That's why I'm not videoing that. It also came with some instructions, which I'm not going to go through because I've got kind of an idea. We'll just go through what we've got here. So it comes in 3 pieces. The first piece is your trigger end. The middle piece is an extension that you may or may not use depending on how high you need to cut. And the final piece is the part with the saw on it. There is an oil reservoir right there where you can add bar and chain oil. It's got a cover on it. And this is where the actual motor is, so the end of it is kind of heavy. I paid $150 for this saw at Ace Hardware in Cumberland without a battery. I already had some of the XR Dewalt batteries to use, so I didn't need another one, and I've got a couple chargers already. So I was good with that already. So here's a look at the cutting end. It's actually got a rest against the limbs there when you're cutting. Oil reservoir, motors behind that. And then what you do when you put the 2 pieces together, you've got this coupler that slides up and down on the pole. There's an indicator arrow where you, on both components where you put them together, they basically just plug in a wire connection in there, slide the coupler down, and you screw it together. Now, like with any other chainsaw, you want to make sure you've always got bar and chain oil in your bar and chain oil reservoir. This one comes empty, so make sure you fill it before you start using it. On the back of the chain cover, there is an Allen wrench too, so that you can take the bar and chain off to sharpen the chain, or take the chain in for sharpening, I should say, or replace the bar or service it. Kind of nice to have that right there. So the only thing I'm missing is my battery. And this is all I'm going to do for safety today. It's like 90 degrees and high humidity. I'm not into my chainsaw gear, but I'm not putting it on for this today. I'll be wet by the end of the video either way. Alright, so in order to make it go, it's got a safety switch on here. You have to kind of fold that in like so, and you can use the trigger when you're in business. That chain is actually really sharp. It cuts through there pretty fast. Give it a try on some trees that are a little bit thicker here. Probably a, I don't know, 2.5 inch tree there. The whole thing, probably with just the 2 pieces, probably weighs about 20 pounds. It's a little heavy on the end, and I think once I get that 3rd section in there, it's going to be a little top heavy. And the trigger is down here, and I think if I had a preference, it'd be nice to use the trigger somewhere in the middle, but it is what it is, and it still works. And even with 2 pieces, I'm a little over 6 feet tall, so I don't know what that is. I'm probably reaching up there at 13, 14 feet without that pole extension in the middle. That was a 3.5 inch tree, no problem. That was an oak, so it was pretty hard. I can see this being real handy if you're trying to limb out a tree for a ladder stand, or get screw-in steps, or your hang-on steps, you know, strapped to a tree, and you got all these branches in the way. You don't even have to get that close to the tree to get in there. Like some of those spruce trees, you can't even get near them, but you can stick this right in there. Open up the area before you lean your ladder stand up there, so you're not fighting all those branches. All right, we're going to add the 3rd piece and extend it all the way to 15 feet. My boy Bennett's the cameraman today, and he's putting up with mosquitoes biting him while he's filming. He's doing a pretty good job. If you do see some shaking and wiggling, it's because he's trying to swat mosquitoes that are biting him on the nose. So far, so good. Okay, that's all 3 pieces, and I measured up to that branch right there where it comes off. That's 16 feet from the ground. Like I said before, I'm 6'2", 6'3", and I got a pretty good reach, probably to 7 feet. So I guess if you're short, you can reach 15 feet. If you're tall, you can reach all of 16. I could probably get another foot. I could probably reach all the way up to 17 feet if I'm stretched out here. So most people, I'm guessing, are going to be able to cut a branch off at 16 feet. Now, if you're out there cutting branches off way above your head like this, it's a good idea to start out towards the end and just cut off a few small pieces and work your way in towards the tree trunk with the bigger pieces. A smaller chunk's going to hurt a lot less when it hits you on the head than a big chunk. Now, I read some reviews on this, and some people were complaining about the battery or the saw hesitating or pausing when they cut. I have a feeling their battery just wasn't fully charged. This was a fully charged battery, and it's still cutting just fine, and I'm probably up to, I don't know, 20, maybe 30 cuts with it, and it doesn't seem like... The only time it stalls out if I'm trying to take too big of a bite at once and it gets jammed up. But other than that, it seems to be cutting just fine. Okay, here's like a 4-inch chunk of pine we're going to try cutting. Goes pretty good. All right, next we're going to try and cut through this chunk of 5x6. Pretty darn nice. That chain is super sharp, so I wasn't forcing it. I was just kind of letting it go on its own, and it cut right through that pretty good. And my battery is still good. So, and just at a quick glance here, it's going to be pretty hard to get yourself in trouble by cutting your fingers off or whatever, because the trigger unit is so far away from the saw on the other end. It would be really tough for me. I mean, you'd really have to try and do it. So it's pretty, I think from as far as not being able to cut yourself, it's pretty safe as far as that goes. You might be able to get your foot if you're really being stupid with it, but overall, the chain is so far away from where you're hanging onto it and where you're running the trigger that it just seems like it's almost impossible to cut yourself with it. And in summary here are my final comments after using it a little bit. I think that when you have just the end section and your trigger section, it works pretty good. It's pretty easy to maneuver and get, reach around. When you put that extension pole in the middle, it does make it kind of cumbersome and a little top heavy, but I can still, as you can see, I could still reach up 17 feet and make a cut if I wanted to. So I gotta say, I really like it, and for 150 bucks, I can't wait to use it for clearing out my bow stands and limbing, because it seems like it's always 90 degrees and humid and buggy when you're trying to cut branches with an extended pole saw. You end up sweaty and tired, and you just get sick of doing it, and you just can't wait for it to be over. So all in all, from what I can tell with this out-of-box review, I highly recommend it. Again, I can't wait to use it, and I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's probably a good investment of 150 bucks. If the thing lasts for a few years, it'd be great if it lasted 5 years or maybe 10 years, but even if it gets a couple years, I think I'll probably get my money's worth out of it. Hey, thanks for watching this video. We'll see you in the next one. So I bought this without a battery, paid $150